All right, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, good morning and welcome to Activated Mornings for today. A tweaked version. We apologize for the late start. As you can hear, yes, my name is Christal. I don't particularly have a voice this morning, but I'm gonna try my best to not crack up on the People Radio station. Joining us today is, as usual on a Monday morning, is Dr. Jerrol Thompson. The WhatsApp number is 457-9994. The number to call is 457-9997. Good morning, Doc. Any remedies?
Good morning, St. Vincent the Great. Good morning, Christal. And I'm going to talk a bit louder today in view of Christal's voice. Christal, I know what it's like. You know, I know that sore throat, that shrill voice. You know, voices have to be put on a little bit of exercise and so forth too. You know what I mean? I imagine over the weekend, there were a couple of things might have happened that may have strained your voice, may have cracked your voice a little bit, you know? And boy, there's nothing better than what you have there. You got some tea. I see some, I'm sure you've been doing the ginger and turmeric or the ginger and this and so all those things are real good, you know?
Yeah.
But fluids, that's what you got to do. You got to be drinking all the fluids to get a recovery, or tomorrow your voice will be funny. And the next day, anyway, let's hope for Christal's recovery, you know? Christal's voice recovery.
Yeah.
So Christal, that's unfortunate. But we're gonna have you speak as minimum as possible, but we still gotta speak.
We still got to talk, you know? Despite whatever, we still got to move on.
Yes.
Over the weekend, most notably, I want to say congratulations. By the way, say 27. Congratulations to the 11 queens that participated in the Queen of Calypso competition. That was held on Saturday. I worked at that event as the MC. I think that's what took whatever was left of my voice, but that was perfectly fine. Well, coming close to the end of the night is when I started to notice something was like really wrong. But I was not well last week Friday because I wasn't here as well. Nevertheless, 11 exceptional performances, and they were all top notch. So the calypso songs ranged from entertaining to thought provoking. The lady sang about a number of topics.
Yes.
Right. I'm trying to remember them off the top of my head. There was a little bit. There was Nubian Empress, Fire Empress, Chanel Mackenzie, Marvelous, Lady Marvelous. There was Lady D Collection. I'm at 7 right now. If I have forgotten you, my sincerest apologies. I'm trying to remember the other ladies, but they'll come. So congratulations to all the women who participated. Sheena Collis was another contender. The winner, we'll start from third. Third place went to Chanel Mackenzie. Second place went to Nubian Empress. And the first place went to a Fire Empress. Right. And it was a good show. I hope that next time around that while Russell's was full, that the venue that's selected for the next one would be a bigger venue to accommodate more people, and that more people will come out and support the Calypso art form and to support women. I know normally they have the National Calypso Monarch at Victoria Park.
No, that's interesting. What you say, you're not saying that Victoria Park was too big and Russell Cinema is too small. What are the intermediate venues there? So
at this present moment, I can't think of a venue right now, but hopefully next year, I mean, they have about a couple of months to start putting things in place to plan and prepare for next year. But it was more so geared towards the support from people to come out and really like jam pack every single venue. Whatever venue is chosen for Calypso, because that's where Raga Soca started from. That's where Soca started from. Everything that we're enjoying today, the higher paced music started out of Calypso.
But tell me, Fire Empress had not been performing in recent years. Had she?
She was performing. She was
Okay.
producing music. She produced music last
No,
year.
performing in the Queen competition.
I don't think she was part of it last year. I
Yeah.
don't recall.
So her addition to this really was a big movie. That probably edged out Mackenzie, Chanel.
Well, Chanel placed third, so it wasn't
Third.
Fire Empress alone.
Yes,
Nubian, the Empresses.
Yes, yes.
The Empresses are first and second. But Fire Empress' performance was really good, naturally, because she won. The judges were quite impressed. Her song was good as well. And her song, you can actually go and find it on YouTube. You can find Nubian Empress's song as well as Chanel Mackenzie's song
Yes.
is out there.
Yes.
What did Fire Empress sing about? The price of neglect.
Yes.
I played it this morning, actually.
I thought you had it lined up.
I played it this morning. We can play it again.
Yeah.
8:31 is the time. We're normally joined by courts
Yes.
around this time. So we'll just await for their live call this morning, right? We also have Chanel Mackenzie's song. We can play that throughout the course of the morning too.
I think we owe that. I think we owe that to them.
Yeah. Not Nubians, but we'll get that by the end of the week. But it was a good show. It
No
was a good
doubt,
show.
Christal, we have to say a few words on Zion I, right?
A few words. He
Yeah.
sang so many words.
No, really, not really. No,
Boy.
I think got to say a few words on that.
Uh-huh.
Lots of other things taking place over the weekend, week. But as we build up towards Carnival, do you think that Queen show went a distance in the vibe in terms of the tempo, the build up to Carnival really getting up there at this particular time? I mean, or is it you hear people saying, oh, things haven't really started to build up yet and so forth. Did that do it?
I feel like it contributed in a way, but I don't think the impact was as great as it could have been, because generally the masses would gravitate to raga soca and then even more so to power soca.
Mhm.
So the impact that it made, I don't think it was as great as. There are, of course, the lovers of calypso and kaiso, and they would have felt that because they're the persons who would go to the tents. By the way, the tents are happening Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I think, again at the Russell's Auditorium. You have the graduates upstage, and I can't recall the last one. Maybe somebody could help me out there. Let me message Cabo and tell him to send me the information again. So that, give them a little push here and there. But I like the fact that, okay, so when people hear the word calypso, they're thinking long, slow, drawn out, something that makes you want to think. It has to be some social issue. Yes, that may be the case for some of them, but not all of them were the tempo wasn't as slow for all of the songs. Some of the songs, people were cracking up in between. I think the one from Marvo, where she sang on CDC, that was a good one. Sheena Collis's song gathered some crowd response as well. Fire Empress song gathered some crowd response. And there was another one. Can't remember the other one, but yeah, it was pretty good.
How about you? You now seem to be the premium host for a number of events. I guess no doubt. I don't know if there's anyone else who would have hosted such as this Queen show and so forth. How do you feel hosting these particular events? And so?
It's not every day. It's not every day I am interviewed or quizzed or questioned. But I guess it's it's a good feeling to witness from behind the scenes. I not only have an opportunity to take part in the event, but I get to see what it's like, especially for competitions, what the competitors go through behind the scenes, how they prepare themselves, how they move about, the jitters, the conversations, the organizing, the things that perhaps they need to work on to make the show better. So you hear feedback. So I think it's a good position to be in. And of course, you have to be extremely professional with everything that you do.
But we're waiting for codes.
Right.
Similarly, that but
Keeping my eye on the phone.
yeah, but that what you're talking about is what a lot of people don't already know. Behind the scenes, as you talk about the jitters,
Yeah.
the little changes that take place, the costume issues, whether a costume issue is a big thing or not. For the females, is the costume as big or a bigger issue than it is for men?
I'm not sure for men or comparison. I don't think I can't remember him saying for a male competition. It's been more of showcasing. But let me just give a shout out to Georgietta Nanton. She was also a competitor um, from Georgetown. Shout out to the entire family. That's another thing you notice too behind the scenes of the support um, for the artists. It's really good. But in terms of costume, one of the criterias for, let me zone into the Calypso, Queen of Calypso, is your presentation and your performance. So obviously you have to pay attention to what you're wearing, and of course, women would have to put on a little makeup here and there.
Mm.
Um, excuse me. So that's an important element. It helps with your, I don't know, but it'll help me. Once I look good, I feel good. So it'll help with the nerves and the jitters and give me that extra boost of confidence.
Mm.
So you have to pay attention to what you are wearing and how you're carrying yourself on stage. It also helps with the audience. The audience sees like, okay, she's looking nice. She has nice props behind there. It helps with your performance. It really does go a long way. So you have to pay close attention to that. Of course, your delivery, your song, your words, everything comes together to form one full package. Cannot compare to the men. I can tell you for certain in terms of steel pan, that's something that the panelists also pay attention to.
Mhm.
Their attire
Mhm.
and how they look, because it's a full package, it's a full presentation. That's representation of your band, is a representation of the show as well. And you want to present a high quality, high standard for anything that you're putting off, whether it's a showcase or a competition. I think that's something that um, holistically we should pay very, very, very close attention to when it comes to performance. Whether you're making money or it's competition, pay close attention to your dress code, your attire. Everything would fall into play and work towards your long-term benefit.
Okay, well, I'm not sure where codes are this morning. We're well into the time slot for
Yes,
them. This
so
happens from time to time,
it does, it
you
does.
know. But anytime they call,
We'll take
so
the call whenever they come through.
uh,
I'm keeping an eye on it.
yes.
Good
Uh,
morning, G. Let me just say good morning, G.
what I the Nubian princess,
I'm an empress.
new empress. Her name is really what?
Felicia Alexander.
Yes, yeah. There was a Calypsonian name is Christopher Joanne.
She didn't compete this year.
She didn't compete this year because I noticed that she would have gone in another religious direction. It
Yeah.
seemed. I saw her becoming baptized and so forth. Right. Um, I'm curious if the number of participants is quite long.
11.
11. Yes. Um, were there more persons looking to perform? And so, do you know of this? I mean, I know you're not
I'm
necessarily
not
the
too
organizers.
certain if there were more women,
Mm,
more queens that could have or should have participated in the event. But let me just share once again to give everybody, their deserved spotlight,
the names, yeah.
right? So there was Cleopatra, which is Cleopatra Hendrickson. There was Collection, Sheena Collis, Nubian Empress, Marvelous, Lady Marvelous, Little Bit, Samantha Martin, Georgietta Selena Nanton, Chanel Mackenzie, Fire Empress. All right. I think that is 11. I believe that is 11.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's good. That's excellent. I remember when the first Queen competition came off. That was about 1990. number 1991, 92, across there. And that's it has been on and off. Who's the producer of the Queen show and so? Is it
The
CBC?
no Calypso Association is the Lady D, Lady D as well. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So Earl Cabot Bennett, he is the president of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Calypso Association.
I
So they're
see.
the ones who put together the entire production, and they're the ones who do the promotions for the tents and so on. By way of information, judging will begin in New York on June 3rd, and then it will continue here the following week
Yeah.
for the three tents.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's who's responsible.
Yeah.
Have you
Yes.
gone? Are you going? You better go this week, tomorrow.
Oh, I'm gonna go to one or two of them. I
Yeah.
usually go to one or two of them. There's some that I like, a lot. And so I may not be able to go to all of them, but I'm gonna go to a couple.
Yeah, take in a little bit.
Yeah, every year you always take it one. Go sneak in, put on a hoodie.
Are you gonna
cap.
disguise yourself?
No, not this guy. Just go and relax a little bit. And so,
Okay.
you can't go there. You hope people don't talk about you. And so forth.
You hope they don't sing about you.
Sing about you. You know, long ago when I was about the party, used to sing something that come up every now and again and so forth. I'm glad,
When a calypsonian sings about you, it means you make it.
Nah,
You are important enough to be sung about. And
no,
you really shouldn't take it to heart unless it's libelous,
yes, but that's the point, and I think that the segue into Zion
Mhm.
I know Zion quite well. I would say he's a friend of mine,
Mm.
and Zion he's been a farmer, he's a Calypsonian, and Zion used to be a major supporter of the Unity Labour Party. Let me tell you that. He used to be a powerhouse up in that lodge, no Lodge Village. I would say in Lago Heights area, and so where he lives.
Mhm.
And I remember he had opened up a restaurant on top of the market upstairs, and had hoped to have done well, and they didn't do so well, and then I saw some major changes. But I think that
When you say major changes, you mean like
well,
personally, professionally,
I think he would have changed his affiliation.
politically?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, we basically continued after I should pop up by him where his farm is and so forth from time to time. I really don't understand what it takes for somebody, even with advice, even with the planning that goes into it, to feel that they could say things that might have a legal basis or legal impact on somebody. Sometimes it's a matter that some places don't care. I think that some persons may have to talk to him and find out. Maybe he might finally realize that he's done something that is correct. But the big issue is his tent and the executive of his tent. I don't know how much criticism they're coming under, or whether they've been applauded for taking the right decision, but they've indicated now that he was no longer going to be performing with them. So he's not going to be at the tent, right? And certainly he may not be in the competition phase or so of things. So I think it's quite unfortunate. Some persons say, "Oh, this song is going to be played still over a period of time," but I think it will fizzle out. I don't know what you think.
I think it's rather interesting. Now, if it is a song that's not supposed to be played, then how did he get to the second verse of the song, of performing it in the tent, and it's all over social media. I'm wondering though, now, if who is his advisor, and if it is that he was just trying to find a way to say what he's thinking, um and just find a way to just avoid being implicated in court, because the song does not mention any last names. So can he, in his defense, say, this is what I'm wondering, that I could be speaking about any and anybody? And can he say, well, who the cap fit, let them wear it, kind of conversation or argument? Hello, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I am all right for the time being, thanks.
Oh, you seem like you have a little host.
Yeah, I have a
Little
bug in my throat.
Yeah, no, I want to try to get her to continue drinking that water. Maybe it needs to warm up again, and so you know what I
Perhaps
mean?
by now.
Yes, the fluids is important. You can't allow. Anyway, yes, go ahead, caller. Yes.
Yeah, you host the thing Saturday night. I think you were hosting, right? Saturday night, the Calypso.
Yes, I did.
The Calypso. Yeah, you probably got it from there.
I wasn't well before. I wasn't well
Oh, you
because I
was
wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't here on
you wasn't in
Friday.
Friday. Yeah, no,
Right.
it was off Friday.
But maybe it's a
Yeah.
string of
So how was
events. You know,
so the show was a good show?
I think it was a good show. I enjoyed it. Patrons
good.
enjoyed it as well.
This is your first time hosting a Calypso event,
Correct.
MCN?
Yes, that's
a
right.
Calypso event?
Yeah.
Yes, all right. You did a good job from the limited part that I heard in it.
Thank you.
The price money, what was the top price money on that?
I'm not certain. I'm not
first price.
certain.
What was the first price?
It was not stated, and
You're
that
not sure,
information
you're not
was not given to me, so I don't know.
Okay. I hope it's on YouTube, so I could probably go back and watch it. Do you know if it's on YouTube?
VC3, they were there, so I suspect they would have a recording that will be aired on their Facebook and YouTube pages at some point in time. So maybe you could just keep following them to see one.
There was a lady that was singing. She was talking about the price for work for the money, the value for money or something, or work and get paid or something like that.
Yeah, that was collection. She
Get paid
did
for people
compensate.
Compensate, right?
Compensate, like pay me my
She's
money.
British, I think. Is she live in England or something?
No, she's
One of the
Vincentian.
California live in England, I think.
I'm not
I
too
think
certain
of the
which one.
female California, I think, live.
Yeah?
I think one of them live in England. So I hear people interviewed one of them still live in England or something, or spend most of the time in England.
But it wasn't her.
But the person, that song, they kind of put on a British accent in the presentation before they start singing the song. Whoever did the promo leading up to the song had a British accent.
Oh, I think there was a recording. There was a
Yeah.
recording. It was like a spoken word, something before it started, before the song started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked if that person was who sang it, that was the person that lived in England.
No, I don't think it was
the
her.
show ended before. Okay, but it seems like the show ended before midnight, and I think that's good in terms of time. That's usually be a problem with shows that will overrun in terms of past midnight and so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Good
Yeah,
stuff.
that was very good. All right.
All right.
Have a good day, guys.
All right. Take care. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. So go back to that song there. If you want to call us 457-9997. Perhaps I probably just need to warm up the voice a bit for something to come up proper. WhatsApp is 457-9994. Right. So I'm wondering if that wouldn't be, or that's not his rationale or thinking, his argument. I didn't call a last name, so you can't do anything to me. But there were quite a bit of implications in the song.
No, if you call my first name,
Right.
and you call then in the same sentence someone who I'm associated with their
Mhm.
first name, and you mentioned a couple other things. There's a chain of events. So some people are known by their first name, a Prince. You you don't know you don't know his his real name, do you?
No.
The singer, the deceased Prince, or certain Calypsonians. Even though the name Zainai is
Zayana is a stage name.
stage name.
It's like a trade name,
Yes,
trading
yes,
ass.
yes.
Yeah.
But
What's Zayana's real name?
well, it's Denny. His last name is Denny. I don't know what the first name is.
Okay.
But his I know his last name is Denny, right? So he's a Denny.
Okay.
So,
I don't know.
no.
The fact that I think it's a matter of not caring.
In terms of understanding defamation laws, some people will make that mistake in thinking that you have to call a person with their full name and so forth in terms of certain things. Once there is a perception and so of what the name that this has been tested many times before in court, and it isn't thrown out because you didn't call the full name or you didn't say the middle name, and if the person has 4 names, call out all 4 names. No, it isn't so.
The beginning of the song, he starts out by singing that is either stick up in there. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Christal.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doesn't sound like Christal at all.
Yes,
I was
sir.
wondering if I'm speaking to the right person. Anyhow, my name is Dave Roberts. I make no apologies for that. And I love what is going on. I love you. When certain controversial things come to light or is being said, I enjoy that. You know why? I get to know how Vincentians think, those who are naive, those who are hypocritical, and all of that. You listen to me? I don't want to sound like the others. I am a sinner that has come short of the glory of God. So I don't want to pretend that I am a saint or I am, I'm a person of integrity and all of that.
You're not?
Let the people judge.
Oh.
Let the people judge. Politicians have a way of cussing people, insulting people, and so on. So let's set the example, because when you're a politician, no matter how bad you are or whatever you might say or do, people still love you. They still worship you. Let Dave Roberts go. Let me come on this radio station and say anything that is not, what the people want to hear. And they will, I know they will let me have the full end of their tongue. Anyhow, where the Calypso is concerned, where Calypsos are concerned, for years, whether it's every year or certain years, when people choose certain topics to sing on, then you start hearing about legal implications and so on. I think it was former Prime Minister Sir James Mitchell who said, he's not going to ban a Calypso in this country. And they could sing, there was a popular Calypso on him when he was around, Nancy, by Mighty Toria and all of that and so on. So Dave Roberts is accustomed to all the hypocrisy and all that comes out when certain things are being said by certain people. Others could get away with murder, like those who tell themselves they are the superior, or like I love to refer to them, they are the inferior in this country. But they could get away with murder, but as the man down on the man who is down there, the oppressed, the suppressed, as he gets a chance to express himself or herself, they come under, the whole whatever comes down on them, the wrath of these people who believe that they are better than other people. So, my thing is, Calypsonians, your voice must be heard. Mighty Sparrow, Dr. Swim of Francisco, is one of my mentors as from a little boy listening to his calypso. You know? And I am sure I'm not alone with that. No wonder why they had was to confer upon him an honorary doctorate. But it's only people who know the history and understand all what I'm talking about would appreciate
Dave, I want to ask you
what
something.
I am saying.
Dave, can I ask you something,
What
please?
ask me? Look sharp now, be going up.
I know. I want to ask you before you run out and so you run away.
Yeah, look sharp. Me running
You
out.
know,
Look sharp.
what if
Question, man. Don't be
what
corrupt.
if your fellow Calypsonians, your executive, your association, the people who you work with disagree with you and tell you that we don't want you to sing those particular verses, please change them. I'm not talking about government, you know. I'm not talking about some legal
God,
thing.
man,
I'm talking about if your colleagues, if somebody close to you, your fellow Calypsonians were to tell you something, how should you respond? Would you think that is suppression by your
Let me
colleagues?
answer, man, because you're taking too long to finish this question. Like I said, if I am not happy, if I will told them the cons, you know, all that is fancy language, but you have to know, I as an individual, maybe I'm too smart or too bright or too dunce or what. I will make that decision of myself. Get out if I know it's going to hurt people and do damage. Of course, I understand how the legal thing works. Even though the law is an answer unto itself, I didn't say that. Somebody said that. So that's my answer to you. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yes. Sorry, I may have stole some of what Dave might have to say. I apologize to you, Dave. But Christal, you were going on to say that the Calypso opened up with a certain set of lines. What was that?
He started out by saying he doesn't care. It's either jail or the cemetery. And I don't know if persons are overlooking that, but to me, that is quite a serious statement to make. To infer that based on what is to come in the song that I'm about to sing, the repercussions, either by truth or belief, are either I'm going to end up dying or I'm going to end up behind bars.
Yes.
He would have had to think through, obviously knowing that what he was going to sing, think through the possible repercussions or consequences.
You see, one of the things that some people may say, I didn't know what were the repercussions. I didn't think that this was so bad. I didn't understand the legal implication. But before saying it, a group of colleagues of other Calypsonians who are not one way or the other or whatever, they're saying to you, you must change certain words. Not that you can't sing your calypso, you know.
So did they tell him that before the performance?
Yes, and he had agreed. And in the rehearsal, he played something that had changed after his original thing had brought some discussion from his executive and so. Now, one of the Calypsonian has expressed that I voted for him to sing it the way
originally.
He had it originally. But the majority of persons who were there said no. And that's a democracy. You know what I mean? I think what Dave is saying, throw all it out the window. If a man wants to sing whatever he wants, but what is defamation? Defamation covers a number of things. And there's a difference between defamation, there's a difference between slander, and then libel. You understand? And one has to understand that you could be doing all three, and there are defamation laws, there are parts on slander, there's parts on libel. You could be had in many, many different ways, you know? And when an entity is singing, they may well be sued. But then the radio station that plays is also sued. The other entities associated with it, the band, whatever the case may be, because they would have known from rehearsals that these things are the case. And so they could be brought in. Usually it's just the individual alone. But often there's a term. There's a term that somebody may be, and you've got to use this word very carefully, a man of straw. In other words, if a person doesn't have great wealth, there's no point suing him. So that's why anybody who's doing a lawsuit, they're going to sue you. They will also sue you for this, that, the other. But the thing about it is that there's been no question of any lawsuit, you know. Nobody's saying they're going to sue or the band this. It is the association. Just the remarkable thing that I think Dave overlooked. It's the association, the grouping, the colleagues, the fellow Calypsonians who would have made a decision you can't say. If somebody, they said, were to come out on stage naked, if one of those contestants at the Miss Calypso Queen Cup came out naked and said, I will come out naked, would you have accepted that, Christal?
I'm the host. I'm not the organizer.
If you're the host,
all I can say is announce the name.
As the host, and the announcer. But
I'll just have to announce the name. That's not my job to stop anybody.
Yes, yeah. But if you one of the organizers, you think that should be permitted?
It depends on the song she's singing.
Yeah. If it was a man coming out there, because you know sometimes people try to make a difference and say, well, female could come out. That's all right. That might be nice.
Hypocrisy.
Yeah, the hypocrisy.
Double standard.
No. Actually, this goes in the other way. This goes in the other direction. If a man comes out, therefore trouble, big time trouble. If a female comes out, they might let it pass a little bit. If I may be incorrect,
still a double standard.
Still a double standard. It's a double standard.
Yeah.
But if somebody starts to come out and talk about they love little girls, underage girls, would you? I'm putting it away. You just announce that Calypsonian, or would you show your protest? I did this specially in that way because I know what your reaction might be to the nakedness. But if somebody come out
in that instance,
yes.
It is not my job. While I might have an opinion on something, I am hired to do a job.
But would you have a stance? Would you have principles? Would you say
I would have my principles, but I would choose the correct medium in which to address it.
I see.
Which would have been Monday morning following right here.
Yes.
The person who should have come forward to make the announcement in a case like that is the organizer of the event.
But
to distance himself
can I tell you what I would do?
We had to go to the bank, right?
Sure, go ahead. But if it were me, I would have gone to the organizer and tell them, I protest about this. I wouldn't give the impression that I am in agreement with it. Let's go bank rates.
All right. The Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Brick by brick, piece by piece, building with technology, helping wealth increase, starting small, building the future, doing more every day, doing more together. BOSVG, the bank we count on. BOSVG. Our one bank together, we're strong. Our nation's bank, standing long and proud. One bank, one voice, sing it loud. BOSVG. Hey, building our future. Doing more together.
BOSVG, doing more together.
Good morning, welcome to the ECCB Bank Rates for today, Monday, June 5th. Brought to you compliments the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The following are today's indicative rates in Eastern Caribbean dollars for key international and regional currencies. These rates will not apply to commercial banks' transactions with the public. The Barbados dollar 1.35, Canadian dollar 2.0096, Swiss franc 2.96361, Euro 2.88779. Pound sterling 3.34868, United States dollar 2.70, and the Guyana dollar 0.0132. Thank you so much for listening, and thanks to the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for sponsoring.
Brick by brick, piece by piece, building with technology, helping wealth increase. Starting small, building the future, doing more every day, doing more together. BOSVG, the bank we count on. BOSVG, our one bank together we're strong. Our nation's bank, standing long and proud. One bank, one voice, sing it loud. BOSVG. Hey, building our future. Doing more together.
OSBG, doing more together.
Paramedics is pleased to announce that we have a sale for the month of June on all household items. Cups, dinner plates, clothes baskets, microwaves, toasters, Victoria's Secret splashes and creams, bedspreads, comforter sets, and so much more. Don't forget, we carry the best in medical supplies, including hospital beds, wheelchairs, commodes, crutches, IV poles, adult pampers and adult pull-ups, Huggies wipes, scrub suits and lab coats, Foley catheters, cannulas, syringes, diabetic strips and machines, blood pressure monitors, sterile and unsterile gloves. Thank you for your continued support. Call us at 451-2763 or WhatsApp us at 531-9119.
Alan Smith and Family Bakery, the worldwide name for all your bakery needs, specializing in wedding cakes, birthday cakes, the world famous hard dough and light dough, multi-grain by special order, and now available baguette bread at all your leading supermarket outlets. And for that sweet tooth, currant rolls, jam buns, homemade sweet bread, guava and apple tarts, butter and oatmeal cookies, and for your savory needs, beef and chicken patties. Alan Smith and Family Bakery supplies bread to the Grenadines, Leeward and Woodward side of the island. Contact us at Alan Smith Family Bakery at gmail.com. Call us 457-8317, 457-8550, or 533-0943. Located along the main road in Camden Park Industrial Estate, we are the healthy choice. All our products are made with 0 grams trans fat ingredients. Quality is our passion. We open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Saturdays, 7 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Sundays and public holidays, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Thank you for your patronage over the years and for your continued support in the years ahead.
Whatever you are celebrating, birthdays, anniversaries, engagements, retirement, or just celebrating life, the place to be is at Basil's Bar Kingstown. Established for over 38 years, we are open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with an exquisite ambiance. We have a set menu and 3 a la carte menus to choose from, and we are flexible to all requests. We go above and beyond to serve you. Basil's Bar Kingstown, where it's more than just a meal, it's an adventure. Call for reservations at 457-2713.
General Hardware still has the best prices on steel, lumber, and plywood. So go on, compare prices. And if by chance you find a better price, no stress. Just talk to the General, and they will beat that price plus give you special priority delivery. Yes, General Hardware offers free island-wide delivery on most purchases, so you never have to worry about getting your goods on site on time. Plus, shopping at General Hardware is a pleasant experience with friendly, knowledgeable staff always ready to serve. What more could you wish for, huh? So come to General Hardware for proper service, lowest prices, free delivery, and see why nobody beats the General. Nobody.
For over 20 years, Cubano Limited professionally delivers top quality products and exceptional service. Located in Sand Hill in Kingstown, we are open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. We supply animal feed, dog and cat food, animal supplements, a wide range of floral supplies, nursery pots, ground cover and shade cloth, and much more. We also stock a wide range of motor vehicle supplies, including automotive oils, filters for all vehicles, engine coolants, and much more. Email us today at cubano_1@hotmail.com or call us today 451-2911 or 493-7175. Cubano Limited, professional, top quality, and exceptional service.
WeFM 99.9, home of quality programming. A source of reliable news and information. Home of legendary voices and music. WeFM 99.9, the Queen First Sound. Visit us online at www.999wefm.com or call 457-9994. WeFM 99.9, the Queen First Sound.
Nothing else sounds as good as
WEFM, the Queen First Sound.
Hey, boy. African people have a saying, before your pygmies start disobeying, it takes a village to raise a child. Long time parent, pastor to elder, granny, grandpa, auntie or neighbor used to help them grow gentle and mild. But in these crazy modern times, all that wisdom stop. To lash your child now is a crime. They could lock you up. But what Frederick Douglass says, I now comprehend. It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. So, what's wrong with Caribbean youth? That's the modern cry. We're like we're afraid to face the truth. We keep living a lie. It takes a village to raise a child, the African proverb says. But we make them, then neglect them for days and months and years. A child who only knows neglect will grow to hate and disrespect. And that is why the next African saying what it wants. A child who's not embraced by the village will learn to wreck, to loot and to pillage, and will burn it down just to feel it swarm. Yes, the child ignored by the village will grow up hateful and damaged, and will burn it down just to feel it swarm. Today we bright and so clever, all them ancient wisdom we sever, them African proverbs we long forget. But the reason no children now straying, the role that the village was playing, now taken by Facebook and internet. Big threat in this digital circus, it seems we are stuck. Our children now focus on Instagram and TikTok. No more community spirit, even family time long gone. Every hour our children's digits on an iPhone or Samsung. So what's wrong with Caribbean youth? All leaders now cry. We're like we afraid to face the truth. We still live in a lie. It takes a village to raise a child, the African proverb says. But we let social media raise them for days and months and years. The price of all this vast neglect is a widening disconnect. And that is why the next African saying what? A child who's not embraced by the village will grow up brutal and savage, and will burn it down just to feel it swarm. Yes, the child ignored by the village will turn out vengeful and damaged, and will burn it down just to feel it swarm. And that is why I say wait out any guile. It takes a village to raise a child. If you want to bring them back mile by mile, it takes a village to raise one child. If you want to replace the frown with a smile, it's time to reach out, time to reconcile.
Man was made to mix and to mingle, not to remain solo or single. Yes, we are all social animals. Youths without a village as their home will develop a lone wolf syndrome and then might just answer a wilder call. Soon he will roam with the wolf pack and start causing stress. But did we try to pull them back before they turn lawless? You make the child and not his mind is what we like to say. But to their bad ways we were blind. They were not born that way. So what's wrong with Caribbean youths? That's the modern cry. But we chased our own selfish pursuits and didn't cast an eye. It takes a village to raise a child, the African proverb says. But with trinkets, we just spoil them for days and months and years. A child don't need gifts and presents, just a love, attention and presence. That is why the next African proverb wants, it wants. A child who's not embraced by the village will learn to wreck, to loot and to pillage, and will burn it down just to feel its warmth. Yes, the child ignored by the village will burn it down just to feel its warmth. So when you see them acting strange and hostile, if you want to bring them tame and docile, to remove the hate, the anger and bile, before the name end up on the police file, remember,
This is 99.9 Radio. Turn it up.
WEFM 99.9.
So what you just heard there is the winning song for this year's Queen of Calypso competition. The Price of Neglect. It was released earlier this year, a few weeks ago. So it was in rotation. So people were familiar with it before getting to the night. And that's something that everybody needs to work on. Calypso, I'm speaking about.
A lovely song. And it's touched on an area that I really hold quite passionately, and I'll come to that, what they were talking about. But I want to say, as we still link this with that whole Sinai issue, there are many laws on our books, and one can ignore them or you can enforce them. But laws really are there to help guide behavior and prevent people from doing certain things. You know, there's some laws that would be used after the fact, but really laws are there. Look, don't go and do this because these would be the consequences. And as a result, we have protocols, we have norms, society, communities, and so forth will then behave in a certain way. And I want to say that you don't go and beat your wife because your wife ain't cook for you that day. You know what I mean? And you don't go and mess with or mess up your kids for whatever reason or the other because you're under some stress. You don't steal what you want, you know, because you want to. You know, you don't go and injure somebody, and you don't say what you want because there are protocols. Hate speech in terms of ethnic hate, whether black, I'm going to take the call, the bullying, and so forth. And I wanted to get to what the Surgeon General had said recently. Let's take the call and then.
Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello?
Hi, good morning. Welcome.
Yes, I just came back. I had to come back, you know, and thank thank Dr. Thompson, one of the Prime Minister, arguably the brightest guy he ever had in cabinet. I just want to thank him for his interpretation of what I had to say. Thank you, and I hope you felt justified with what you had to say. On Fire Empress, I want to say something about Fire Empress. She spent most of her life, I think, in Trinidad, in Tobago, and all of the Twin Island Republic. She would have learned a lot from that experience where calypsos are concerned. I know she competes. I don't know. Something I have to say though, her impact does not seem to be the same in TNT like it is in SVG. I would like to know how far she has gotten in her calypso exploits in Trinidad and Tobago in terms of winning anything there, right? And this usually happens maybe according to the competition and that sort of thing. And I must, over the years, listen to her, and I think she has a good writer of calypso. Now, some people don't want people to write calypsos for them because they feel that they are not capable of doing everything for themselves. That has been an international debate with artists over the years. I'm just sharing my experience over the years that I would have learned from artists on the international scene. But it is accepted that if you want to put forward your best, you must have a good writer. And that sort of thing. And I think she has, look at how she treated that in terms, and she has she has the ability to perform, right? And
yes, you're right.
I know she was powerful from the time she launched that tune. What's the title of it? But I know with all
Price
these,
of Neglect. Price of Neglect.
Yeah, Price of Neglect. But what comes over there so strongly, it takes a village to raise a child. This is something, that has come home to us a long, long time ago, right? So with her generation, with her experience and that sort of thing, and I heard her earlier on another program, and she was right on target with what she has to say.
Yes.
According to the audience she's singing for and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. But when all is said and done, who are we singing to in terms of population? It's a youthful population we are singing to most of the time. The mature audience or mature people in our population will accept and appreciate, calypsos of this kind. I mean, I am one of those persons who I always say I'm happy that I am still around to enjoy. I've cut my teeth, so to speak, in the older generation, and then getting into the younger generation thing. But when all is said and done, the foundation has been laid. The basis for all what is happening has been laid. And what is disturbing or disappointing for me is that we are living in an age now where we seem to have forgotten all the good things that was taught to us in the past. And there are those of us in our with academic ability who are good at distorting what really we should be encouraging. And then when you're questioned or challenged, you still want to prove a point. Right? So that's how I see the thing. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yes. Christal.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I want to thank Dave for coming back with that. First of all, I think Fire Empress at one point, a number of years ago, she was not permitted to perform in certain competitions because she was not considered to be a Trinidadian or Trinidadian by birth.
That's vaguely coming back to me.
Yes, yeah. And
Vaguely.
that when she had a very strong song and she should have won, apparently there might have been a protest. I'm not sure what the outcome of it was. So when part of the question is, how has she done in Trinidad? I am not sure if those rules have changed. You know, international power soca allows one person to come from St. Vincent, one to come from Grenada, and so forth. But still, naturally, from a national point of view, they would want Trinidadians to be there, and they wouldn't want somebody from Guyana and Curacao and other things to be coming in and taking over their show. But I think in terms of the Calypso competition, there were some restrictions in relation to her actually being accepted in that final thing, or actually saying, I don't have the details, I could be wrong, you know, and I'll come back to that. But what Dave said somewhat contradicts what you were saying before. On one hand, having a community, to going back to those old things of the community helping to school a child and helping to guide a child and showing them what's right and what's wrong, and they shouldn't say this and they shouldn't say that, they should be respectful and so forth. I want to agree with that. So Dave said that, but before, I think he may have also been saying, but do whatever you want. You should have the freedom to do whatever you want. Now, I could be wrong.
But wasn't he referring to freedom of speech?
He's freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. Now, here what the point is. The Surgeon General. That's why Fire Empress talked about what's happening with Instagram and TikTok. The Surgeon General on the 23rd of May, and I'm talking about some 2-3 weeks ago, said that the evidence is now clear that social media is having a major mental impact on our youth, especially on young girls, and that how it needs more study, but the studies done so far is showing a serious impact because of cyberbullying, people saying what they want about you, and so slander, you know, somebody like you, and so they put out something in social media about you. And I think that clearly people could have done this face to face or on a stage as well. But the social media aspect is coming out that it is having a serious impact, because if you cuss me or you come and say something to me in my small group, in my small village, that's one thing. But if you go and you say something online that's gone viral or through social media, it's having a greater impact on the individual feeling hurt or bullied or slandered, whatever the case might be. I'm just bringing that out there.
Yeah, because the audience is far greater, and there is no way to tell who's seeing and who is getting. That's why you see that video that people were sharing with the 10-year-old who was being forced to perform sexual acts on a big grown man. That's why I said that if you ever get anything like that, you should first of all tell the person who sends it, you're not supposed to be sending me these things.
Yeah.
Secondly, you don't forward them. What I find sometimes within our society, laws are always there. Laws are always on the books. To date, I have not heard, and I'm drawing reference and a comparison, I've not heard somebody being charged. It was only the gentleman who was charged for abduction, was charged for child pornography. I've not heard of anybody else being charged for sharing, receiving, or sending that video, and a ton of people would have been guilty of that. You cannot say that you can't find, the law is there. And these are things that happen all the time. You cannot charge somebody.
Yes, yeah. I'll tell you
for
why.
that kind of crime. It's like some laws have more importance than others.
Yes. They will do. They will do. And that's not. And part of it is an understanding of what the law is. As Fire it takes a community. Sometimes the cybercrime laws would have come into effect in 2016. Now, we talk about 8 years. That's long enough. But there were people who were saying that these laws are bad because they would impinge on people's freedom of speech. Now, the individual who actually did the deed, you want to get them as a primary thing. You understand? And the person who shares it, somebody may make the case, they are upholder by passing it on and sharing it. But because there's so many people, the public interest in trying to try one person or catching somebody and doing them as an example, you won't be able to get through it. That
in essence, it's a waste of time.
It's not a waste of time.
It's a waste of time.
It's not like it would be unfair to select out Christal or Jerrol Thompson to when there are hundreds of thousands of other persons who actually do anything because
if you have sufficient evidence to charge somebody, that is a criminal offense.
But
and
the person's defense,
right? In what I'm thinking, if you just continue to allow it, next time it happens,
you don't really allow it. It's a public education. So
but you cannot just keep educating people not listening.
On that particular score, but
They're
it's
not
the
listening because
the
they
original
continue to do
deed.
it. Right, so you deal with the original deed, but there's also another criminal offense that's being committed by so many people.
Let's take
You can't tell me, you cannot, God, wait, you cannot, I will lose my voice by the end of the show, I don't care, but you cannot tell me that it's not of public interest if it keeps happening every time. The amount of times you have stories, I mean, I don't get them, I don't want to get them, but the child pornography, man,
I agree.
there was another gentleman, where was he from, like,
you.
somewhere in East Kingston,
I agree with you.
and you couldn't find somebody, and I'm saying, like, just go out, but you need to set an example for some of these laws. What's the point of the law? What's the point of the cybercrime law if you can't use it?
I agree with you, but I am saying that the cybercrime laws are there primarily to prevent the original event. There's a weight.
Right. So if we are to bring that in, in a case where there's child pornography involved, then by your point, that will help to prevent it from happening again.
Okay, all right then. But you see, I'll tell you my understanding of how people think. People share it with the view that, look, let's show what this guy is doing. I'm not sure they're sharing it because they're happy that it has happened and it's fun. They're often sharing it because let's do something about this person. Let's get him. You understand? And that is what in the past has been used as a defense. But I'm not sure if in other countries too, the concept of sharing is the thing that actually comes over as the primary insult or the primary problem, or is it the individual who's actually doing it? We now need to make sure it is never done again. But
I'm going to stress again. Other offenses are committed. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They come on radio, they go on television, they use social media, and they tell us, if you are in receipt of these things, you are committing a criminal offense. And they read out the act, they read it out in its entirety. If you share it, they tell us that it is unlawful. However, who gets charged? Well, it's a waste of time. Don't tell us that then. Why are you telling us? You think that's a way to stop somebody?
I'm not sure if it is said necessarily. It's just a waste of time. But I am saying, you see, on one hand, they want persons and their ways of doing it to report it. They don't want a kind of a secondary negative effect where people say, boy, let me not touch this because something could come back to me and so forth. You know what I mean? For sure, don't share it. Don't share it.
Let me not forward this. One, primarily because it's not something that should be forwarded, and two, because it's a criminal offense.
It's true.
So
I agree with you.
in a case where the person's judgment isn't there, then at least the fear of prosecution would supersede and overcome the person's moral standings or lack of moral compass.
Yes,
That's not the point of the law.
yes, yes.
My boy's gone by the end of the shift now.
Mhm. Still, greater public education. Christal is saying
Of
we
course.
need to pick up one of these persons and carry a case, on it. We leave that to the powers that be, and we'll see. Let's hope it happens.
It will be proven
as
again.
a good example, as a good
It will be
example.
proven again that is only certain things that get a lot of attention. We will say it again. And I say again because it has happened before.
True, it's true.
Somebody says it's funny Doc is asking and telling you what he is. When I was listening the song, my thoughts were if I was one of the backup singers or the band, I'd stop and walk off.
Yeah, but I am told, I saw an interview with IPA, who is the chairman or president of that particular Calypso association, Calypso group, tent. And he said that some of the band members did walk out during the event. At what stage they walked out and so forth. Because it was hoped that the person would have said the song as practiced. So as they're going along, it was clear that they resorted back to their original verses. And they were not, and Zaina was not going to basically follow what he had agreed on. And what IPA said, if that is true, that may not be being true, that a couple of band members did stop and walk off.
You believe that though?
That what?
You believe
A couple of them stopped
No.
and walked?
they had the fact that the song reached to the very end. Was it shock? Everybody was just sitting down shocked. Was it amusing? Was it that he was singing what people think? What was it that prevented somebody from just going and pulling the plug? If it is that what he was singing, if he's singing something, if a calypsonian is singing something that's libelous, isn't there a chord? Isn't there a switch somewhere? Have the switch.
I'm not sure who makes that decision, but go ahead. Yeah.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning again, Christal. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, sir.
Two quick comments on the issues you're discussing. On the issue of cybercrime bill, some offenses, Christal, and you'd appreciate this, are easier to investigate and prosecute than others because of their very nature. If Christal stabs me in tongue, it is easy to look at the videotape of somebody who have cameras in the area to see it and make arrests and so forth. Regarding sharing of information, period, whether it's photographs, videos, documents, it becomes a lot more difficult because it's done electronic. So to trace the source of it, becomes difficult to investigate, get to the bottom of it, to make arrests. And so sometimes, for example, somebody may share a video, and you may be able to catch somebody, for example, who shared it. But the person who recorded it and is the originator of it gets cut through because we're not able to go back to that source. And so how unfair would it be to arrest me because I got a video and I sent it to Christal, but the person who actually engaged in the event, that the activity and so on, we can't trace it back to him. I think what is important is the acknowledgement that, first of all, we've made this step in criminalizing this type of activity. And the government now would continue to work on building the capacity of our law enforcement officials to do so. Look, one of the easiest things, Christal, I put up on Facebook, Christal is a thief, she thief money, this, that. And it did it on Facebook. And Christal goes and make a complaint. And I say, my account was hacked. That wasn't me. Do you know the resources required to investigate the IP address, the time, and all of those things of where the message was sent, the devices were sent from, and so forth, in order to be able to say, no, this was sent by you at 3 o'clock from this location. And then the flip side of that becomes, well, if we are able to investigate things down to that granular level, what does that mean for privacy? Does that mean that they have the ability to now get my information outside of that? And then that becomes a whole other discussion. So the thing is, the first aspect of getting the legislation down is critical, and that was done. The work has to continue to build the capacity so that we will be able to now enforce these in the way that we want to. Outside of that, we have to rely on the cooperation with citizens, which may not be forthcoming. Citizens actually coming forward and saying, you know what, I got the video from X. He was the one who said it. He's the one who created it. Especially if the person who's doing the recording or whatever is hidden. So that cooperation is needed. And we know how difficult that is where people are cooperating with law officials on various types of crime. But I wouldn't say that waste of time, Christal. It is a step in the right direction. Even countries with more resources, more money, better technology, have difficulty in policing this type of thing. So we ain't gonna get it. We ain't gonna get it bang on in the first try. But we have to continue to work on improving the capacity of our law enforcement individuals or investigators, getting the technology to a point. I mean, that would tell you. I mean, this cybercrime thing and so on. These are things that were pioneered by that. He might be modest and not say it. But things like the cybercrime and electronic transaction and so on were all things that were started when that was Minister of Telecommunication. So he understands this and where we're trying to go. And the difficulty, the challenges that come with it, but we have to continue and commit to continue working on getting us to a point where we are able to actually enforce, put real teeth to the legislation that we have and make criminals convict individuals who engage in these type of high technology type criminal offenses. That's the first thing. The second thing, like Christal, I have said that my biggest takeaway from that event last week, Thursday night, was the lethargy, the non-action of the tent. Fools will act foolishly. And so the fact that I heard a video of Cheerleader number 1, Patches Knight, saying, oh, I vote for Zion, is not wrong, blah, blah, blah. So the fact that Zion is able to allow people like Patches to cheer him on, to engage in such foolishness, is, I guess is what we expect from Zion. A fool will always act foolishly. But for a song that's about 7 minutes long, verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, verse 3, chorus, verse 4, and nobody from the tent, because they were apprised of the challenges that may occur. They had spoken to him. Based on an interview the morning before, Hyper was on. They had spoken to him. They knew that there was potential problems there. So the tent should have been prepared for the realization of that challenge. And to sit there for 7 minutes and nobody, no MC, no engineer, nobody, do nothing but allow this song to play in its entirety, makes me ask the question that you asked. Were they in paralysis? Was everybody in that tent in paralysis? Well, clearly not, because 2 huntsmen sat there. I saw them. They weren't playing. And you saw the uneasiness of those 2 huntsmen. You watched the video. But eventually, those 2 huntsmen were not content with just not playing. I saw when one of them actually, I saw one didn't play at all. Then the other one was playing, and I saw he put on the sacks on the stand. And then eventually, those 2 men got up and walked off the stage. They wanted nothing to do with that at all.
Yes.
So it wasn't just I am playing, but I didn't come on the same stage with you with this nonsense.
Yeah.
So if those 2 men could have acted during the song, nobody else could have. The paralysis was so strong that people can get finny and people get crippled. Interesting stuff.
Yes.
Defamation and libel is hurt, but it's hurt to people's character and reputation. It's the same damage.
Yeah.
So I could hurt you physically by stabbing you or busting your head. But I could also hurt you. I could hurt your character. I could hurt your reputation. I could damage it.
Yeah.
And so you can't be allowed to damage people's reputation by saying whatever you want to say in the area of prestige. Come on. Now we gone too far.
Yeah.
Now we gone too far.
Thanks a lot, Ian. Thanks a lot.
That's my contribution.
Right.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
yes,
All right.
yes, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
No, with that,
Christal, that's a good ending. It took up a time. I don't need to say more. You know what I mean? But I really, in ending, I think congratulations, Fire Empress. I want to say we have to note what the Surgeon General has just brought up about the impact of social media. I want to take on board what you have said, on two aspects. It does take a community, but at the same time, we have to try and push certain things. See, I said it's difficult. I said the public interest as well. I want to go back. I want to take that back. I think there is a public interest in not only community education, and we got to do more education on these things about what the laws are and how to prevent these things from happening. But I think we all have to do it, and maybe it will take a case that will help, even though it's difficult. See, I agree that these things are difficult to prove, and therefore the case might come up 2, 3, 4 years later on. You know what I mean? That's what will happen. It take and some good defense. If somebody has the money to pay for defense, they'll know how to deal with this. But I think that I'm glad he reinforced the fact that a couple of persons did get up, but not enough. It could have been stopped, and I am hoping there will be some prevention of, even in the name of freedom of speech, that persons are able to speak within the context of what defamation, libel, what slander is, and so.
I'm wondering what the conversations would have been like if Zai and I would have kept the...
It would have been like last year. I know what you're going to say. That
If you would have removed names and probably replaced the names with something else, and maybe 1 or 2 things. But if he had kept the
these things are said on the platform. Some certain things are said on the platforms. Things are said and so forth.
Yeah,
oh gosh, things are said. But things are said about me. Things are said about you, Christian. Things are said about a lot of people.
What would have been the Monday morning conversation?
As a matter of fact,
if he had done what they told him.
Let me say, last year the Monday morning would have been just like last time when he sung "Hypocrite" and so forth. They would say, "Oh, freedom of speech, they're trying to suppress him, they're trying to this," it would come across to the government. But this isn't the government, This is his association, this is his colleagues, this is his grouping. You know what I mean? And because they didn't stop it, pull the plug, as you rightly said, they probably should have done. They've gone a next step to say he will not be performing with them and so forth. So let's take it from there.
9:48. It's time to wrap up. A lot more could have been said.
Lovely body, Christal. We gotta vote that Christal voice return for tomorrow. There's a honey. Listen, some honey. Some. Don't make the drinks too hot. Fluids, water.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who has a sore throat, lots of fluids. Yeah, the back of your throat gets cracked up.
Rest.
You know what I mean? Cracked up. A little bit of rest will help. But guess what? Water, hydration, fluids. Matter of fact, let me go out where there's a bottle out there. Let me bring something. You have the water there. You got to drink it, Christal. Drink the water.
You can probably get some coconut water.
Coconut water. That's good. That's good. All the best. A pleasant morning to everybody. Very good morning. And all the best. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful week.
All right. Thank you so much. And take care. 9:49 is the time. Thank you for joining us on the live.